Hi friends, of late I have been getting many requests from IAS aspirants to make a video regarding a rather interesting, curious topic, a doubt we can say. The doubt that they have raised is the question is, can IAS officers run YouTube channels? Can an IAS officer start a channel on YouTube and do certain things? So, this is the question posted by these students. In fact, I have got such questions before also. In fact, some of my own friends who are serving civil servants under the state government as well as the central government, even they have inquired with me on this issue in the past. I felt it would be better if I make a separate video regarding this to give a proper clarification. I also felt that the clarification will be helpful for IAS aspirants, especially with respect to GS paper 4 in mains examination, ethics, integrity and aptitude. Okay, now whether an IAS officer can run a YouTube channel. Before answering this question, I would like to briefly explain about the nature of civil services and civil servants. You should first know who a civil servant is. What is the duty, responsibility of a civil servant? Only then you can get a better idea, you will get a holistic understanding of the issue. Now, there are some rules and regulations given by the government. There are some legislations, in fact. So, these rules they talk about the duties, responsibilities, restrictions, limitations placed on a civil servant, how he or she should behave, act, discharge the duties. Everything is laid out, given, prescribed in a specific and elaborate manner by the government itself. We have the All India Services Act 1951. We have the Central Civil Services Conduct Rules 1964. So these talk about the duties, responsibilities and limitations on a civil servant. Apart from that, the IAS examination itself, we have a separate paper called Ethics, Integrity and Aptitude under the mains examination. So in this paper, the ethical competency of candidates of future civil servants are tested by UPSC. Okay. So you should understand that ethics is very important for a civil servant. This is expected by the government. Okay, now who is a civil servant? Let me explain in simple terms. I want everybody to understand. I don't want to complicate things. I don't want to go in depth also. Civil servant is part of the civil services. So, civil services, this body, this agency, this entity is responsible for running the affairs of the country. They are given in charge of administering the country. They are administrators. Most people think that only IAS officers are civil servants. This is not correct. In fact, the civil services starts from the bottom level and ends right at the topmost level. The topmost IAS officer in India is the cabinet secretary. Okay, so all these officers working under the administration, they come under civil services. Civil services exist independent apart from the political apparatus. They are also independent from the armed forces, the military. It is also independent from the judicial apparatus. Now, the people working under civil services, they are called civil servants. Civil servants, they are referred to as permanent executive. Why? Who are the executive? Executive is a body that is responsible for running the country, implementing the policies for the people, framing policies, schemes for the people. Simply put, running the country. Okay? Enforcing law and order, ensuring socio-economic welfare. Right? So this is called the executive. Under the executive, there are two branches. One is called political executive. The other is permanent executive. Nevertheless, the two work with each other. Political executive are none but the politicians. They stand in the election, they form the government. They may rule the country for 5 years, they may go away. Another party may come. So these people are not the permanent executive. Okay. But who are the permanent executives? The civil servants, they are the permanent executive. Reason being, they stay in service, they work for longer periods. Okay. Regardless of the party in power, regardless of the ideology of the party, the civil servant has to discharge his or her duty in a professional manner. He or she has to implement the policies, schemes of the government of the day. He or she will be given the responsibility of framing the policies also. So this job has to be done in a professional manner, without any political affiliation, without any party affiliation, without any ideological affiliation. So that's why they are called permanent executives. In fact, permanent executives are largely hidden. Many of us fail to appreciate and understand the nature of the permanent executives. Like I said, party will come and go, but these people will stay for a long time. In fact, they decide the fate of the government largely. Right. Now, civil servant is expected to behave in a particular manner. She or he is expected to exhibit certain characters as well as behavior. Civil servant must act in a professional manner. He or she should not have fear or expect favor. So no fear or favor. He or she should work in a formalistic manner, that is abiding by rules and regulations. Apart from that, there should not be any conflict of interest. Conflict of interest means clashing of interest between official duty and private interest. For example, let's assume there is a IAS officer. He is given charge of implementing a project, let's say highway project. So many people, many private players are applying for doing this project. So let's say the brother-in-law of the IAS officer, he is also applying for getting this project. So here there may be a conflict of interest. So whom to award this project, whether he can award it to his brother-in-law. So such questions may arise. So the officer should be very honest. He should exhibit complete integrity and probity. He should be very neutral. So these are all qualities expected from a civil servant. Now let's come to YouTube. So whether IAS officer can run a YouTube channel. IAS officer is also a citizen of India. So the fundamental rights applicable to a normal citizen applies to a IAS officer also. So he also can make use of the digital media. But here there are some restrictions. He or she can use YouTube as a platform for hobby or sharing his or her interest skills. YouTube can be used to share works that are literary, artistic or scientific in nature. For example, IAS officer could be an engineer. So in his or her leisure time, he or she can share his or her knowledge with others, with youngsters through YouTube. He or she can educate others. So this he or she can do as a hobby. So this is allowed. So this is how one can use YouTube. There should not be any conflict of interest. IAS officer should not be politically biased. He or she should not talk against the government. He or she should not express any views that is against the government of the day. Similarly, he or she should not have any political or ideological affiliation. Similarly, very important thing, he or she should not use YouTube as a platform for his or her political promotion in future. That is very important. So the officer has to act in a ethical manner. Apart from that, an IAS officer, forget YouTube. He or she should not have other sources of income. If there is any source of income, he or she should declare to the government. Next thing, whether IAS officer can promote himself or herself. So this question is very subjective. One can use YouTube to motivate others, teach others, motivate youngsters, inspire youngsters. This is allowed. Okay, so this can be done. Otherwise, IAS officers should not engage in creating personality cult. So personality cult means like an advertisement. So this is wrong. IAS officer is not an institution. He or she is part of the institution that is called civil services. So creating personality cult, advertising himself, promoting himself is not allowed. But these are all subjective areas where the judgment becomes difficult. So this should be analyzed objectively. For example, in our channel, around a year ago, I uploaded a video where the Zoological Survey of India scientist Mr. Surender, he gave a lecture for students. So this was done as a motivation video. So for that video, I got prior approval from his boss. Through email, I got the approval because we have to follow the civil services rules. So I got the permission. I told that, sir, so Mr. Surender is my friend. I'm getting your permission beforehand in order to get a video from him. So this is purely a motivational video for guiding youngsters. So even I got the approval before uploading that video. Lastly, whether IAS officer can reveal or upload official stuff through YouTube. For example, raid, important investigation, arrest, encounters and so on. This is legally not right. One should not reveal official stuff. In fact, this is against the rules. Evidences and other things should not be revealed before the public. In fact, we have this act called Official Secret Act 1924. This specifically bars anyone, civil servant or any other person, from revealing important secrets. Okay, so this is a specific act, but from a generalistic point of view, a civil servant should not reveal official things. Okay, so things like raids, investigations and all, it is best avoided from being shared on social media platforms like YouTube. I hope this video is helpful to you all. Thank you.